guys, Jeremy Donson here with thedrumprofessor.com. Today we're going to be going over Sandman by Metallica. Love this song, it's a lot of fun. Check it out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so the very beginning is 8 counts, or 8 measures, and we're going to do 1, dun 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 dun, 2, dun dun dun, 3, dun dun dun, 4, dun dun dun. Now at the end of the 4th measure, we're going to do 4, 2, 3, and 4. 4, 2, 3, and 4. Now the way we do that is you're going to hit, you can do right or left hand first. You're going to hit and then do a bounce with the other stick, and then another hit after the bounce. So hit, bounce, hit. So 4, 4, at the end of the 4th measure. We go all the way to 8, and on 8 we're going to go 8, 2, 3, 4, then we start the tom part. So let's say we're in the 7th measure, so 7, dun dun, and 8, 2, 3, 4. So you actually hit it 5 times in a row because it's 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. 7, and 8, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's put all that together and then we'll break down the tom section. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now if you notice when I was playing the toms, halfway through I switched from doing this to this. If you look up different tablatures and sheet music on this song, you'll see there's a couple different variations of interpretation of how to do this. For me, I want to always be as accurate as I can be with what the drummer truly does. So there's not a huge difference between doing this and this. One tom, and there's already another tom and bass on top of it. So just for the sake of accuracy, excuse me, let's go ahead and do it the simpler way, and this is more accurate to what he actually does. So at the beginning you're going to do quarter notes on the bass drum, and it never stops. Always quarter notes. Your floor tom is going to do 1/8 notes, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, with the bass hitting on the downbeat. So every number your bass is going to hit. 1 and bass and bass and bass and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now we're going to add, once you get that up to tempo, we're going to add the high and mid tom. So And you have to be really careful on this and on the mid-tom. There is not a bass drum there. Your bass is probably going to want to do this. Bass, 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 bass. But don't let it. There's no bass on that mid-tom. One, bass, 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 and bass. Tom, tom, tom. Now, the cool thing about this part is every 4 measures, you're going to do a crash. And it's very simple to remember what to do because the first time is 1 crash, the second time is 2 crashes, third time is 3 crashes. Okay, so this is the first set of 4 measures is going to go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4th measure, all you're going to do is instead of hit the mid-tom, you're going to crash with the snare drum instead of that. So 4, tom, crash. Everything's the same up to that part. That's your first crash. The second set of 4 in the 4th measure, you're going to do 2 crashes. Now again, there's a lot of different interpretation of how to do this, but you're going to crash 2 times, and this is what you're going to do. This, we're going to do bass and tom like normal, and then crash with the snare. Bass and tom, crash. And then the same thing on the right side of the kit, bass and tom, crash. Now, you have a choice. You can either do bass and tom and bring your floor tom up to the mid tom, bass and tom, crash, or you can do bass and tom. But obviously if you use the left hand, you're crossing all the way over the drum set. There's really not a need for it. You can just simply go, and it's much easier, right? And it makes more sense musically to stick it that way. So putting it together on the second set, the 4th measure of the second set, bass and tom, crash, bass and tom, bass and tom, crash, tom. Okay. The 3rd set, on the 4th measure of the 3rd set, we're going to do 3 crashes. So we're going to do bass and tom like we normally do, and then crash, bass, crash, bass, crash. All crashes are with the snare drum. So bass and tom, so you put this together without music. Let's do it a little slower than tempo. Okay, there's those 3. Now let's put this with music with the hi-hat part before it. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 2, 3, 4. On the 3rd set, when you do crash, bass, crash, bass, crash, that your bass stays the same. It's if you don't have a lot of independent skills with your bass drum, it's going to want to kind of go with it, but make sure it doesn't. Bass, 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 so it doesn't change the whole time. All right, so once we do those 3, the next step is instead of doing this, replace this mid-tom with the snare drum. Pretty simple change. You hit the snare instead of the tom. That's it. So we're going to do that 4 times and then do the same crash that we did in the first set where we crash once. So let's do that real quick. 3 measures with the snare, and then the 4th one, you're going to crash at the end of the 4th measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Next, once you do that, you're going to do it 2 times. So 1, 2. Now that snare starts the next part of this tom section, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Now, that is on and when the snare starts. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we start the counting with and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and. You're going to crash on the and of 8. And all you're doing is just doing the snare and floor tom together. Some drummers like to keep the bass going. Bass and bass and bass and bass and. You don't have to keep the bass going on this. It's just snare and floor tom. So let's say we've done the 4 measures with the snare, and now we're gonna do 1 measure. The next one and 1. That starts the fill. Now I personally don't count it in 1/8 notes because it's kind of busy. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I count it in quarter notes every other time. So I go. I'm just not counting the ends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and be sure that you crash on the and of 8 with the bass drum. Okay, so putting all of this together, here we go. Let's start actually at the toms. We're going to start at the tom section. And 8, 2, 3, 4. That is the entire tom section. Now, the next part, we're going to, once we crash, when we crash out on the and of 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Since that's on an and not on the downbeat of 1, we need to do 2 hi-hats next so that the snare lines up on 2. So for example, 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2. Right? The snare's on 2 and 4, so in order to do that, we need 2 hi-hats instead of 1. Because if we go and 1 and, then the snare is going to be early and wrong. So and 1 and 2 and. So after the crash, do 2 hi-hats, and then snare and bass and snare and bass and snare and bass and snare and etc. So on and so forth. So 1, 2, snare and bass and snare and bass and snare. Crash 1, 2, snare and bass and snare and bass and snare. Okay, so trying that at tempo. So once you do the 1, 2, all it is bass and hi-hat, hi-hat, snare and hi-hat, hi-hat. Very simple. Bass, hi, snare, hi. That's it. And it's all heavy hi-hat. So bass, hi, snare, hi, bass, hi, snare, hi. Okay, so with music. that is it. Now, on every fourth measure, and you're going to do this a total of 4 times, so 4 sets of 4 measures, you're going to go bass and snare and like we were doing, and then bass, bass, snare, crash. Now there's 2 ways to do this. Neither one is wrong. It's just a matter of which one do you prefer. So the first way is to go bass, bass, both with the hi-hat, bass, bass, snare, and the snare is also with the hi-hat, bass, bass, snare, crash with the bass drum. Bass, bass, snare, crash. So fourth measure in full would go bass and snare and bass, bass, snare, crash. Now the second way, because at tempo it's a little, not really too fast, but it's up there in tempo. If you wanted to give your hand a little bit more time to get to the crash cymbal, just omit it on the snare drum. So don't hit the hi-hat on the snare, and then you got plenty of time. Watch. Bass and snare and bass, bass, snare, crash. Bass and snare and bass, bass, snare, crash. Had a ton of time. It was just chilling there, waiting until I was ready to hit it. So either way is correct. It's up to you. If you're not used to taking out hi-hats, that may feel a little bit difficult for you, but either way is acceptable. So at tempo, the first way. Second way. Both are right. So your choice there, which one you want to do. Now we're going to do that 4 times total. And same thing when we crashed at the end of the tom section. We do 2 hi-hats and go back in. It's the exact same after this crash. So let's say I'm in the 4th measure. 4, 2, bass, bass, snare, crash, 1, 2. Then you go back to normal. Right? So just remember, bass, bass, snare, crash, 1, 2. And then snare and bass and snare and bass, back to normal. So let's put this all together, the entire song, and remember you're going to do that 4 times total, and then it's on to the next part. Here we go. Check it out from the very beginning. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 2, 3, 4. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on Inner Sandman. I hope it really helps you to be able to play this correctly. And in case you didn't know, I'm currently offering a free 30-minute video one-on-one with me. And if you have any special needs that you need help with, then let me know, and we can see exactly where you're at skill-wise, how to get you to the next level, and impress your friends and family. So if you'd like to do that, just visit thedrumprofessor.com and sign up for the free lesson. And as always, if you have any questions or comments or a song request, subscribe and ask your question or request your song below. Thanks so much, guys. Take care and have fun.